We're going to be diving into condominiums today because you might be thinking it's a better option or kind of on the fence and not sure if a single family home or a condo is the right move for you. Now, South Florida has tons of condos around and there's no shortage of choices, starting from boutique style buildings up to luxury condos down by the beach. But no matter which one you choose, there are certain things that you absolutely must know before moving forward with a condominium, and we're going to be talking about all of those today on this video, so stick around. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Rob Zeoli. I'm a realtor right down here in South Florida, and if you're looking for a channel that's going to show you what it's like to move to live, to play, and to buy real estate here in South Florida, then this is absolutely the channel for you. So don't forget to subscribe to it and tap the notifications down below if you want to be notified anytime I go ahead and put out a new video. We're getting calls all the time from people just like you looking to make a move down here. So if you have any plans on relocating down here to South Florida, or you're already here, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have plans next week, next month, or even a year from now and just want some information, don't forget to reach out 24/7. We absolutely got your back when moving here to South Florida. So let's dive into today's video. It's all about condos. Now, there's a few things you absolutely need to know when moving forward with a condo, much different than buying a single family home. And the first thing you have to consider is if you're going to be buying cash or if you're financing the purchase. Now, what you need to keep in mind is not only is your lender approving you for the purchase, but they also need to approve the complex itself to make sure that it qualifies, or what type of financing it qualifies for. Now, if you're going to try to go VA or FHA, you might have kind of a tough time because not many complexes down here in South Florida actually qualify for that type of financing. Now, some things you really need to consider and you should know up front, obviously, is how much are you willing or able to put down on the purchase. Now, another thing to keep in mind is how much in reserves does the building have. You want to know about the master insurance policy. You want to know if there's any litigation against the building or the unit owner. A lot of these things that most buyers don't really think about or don't know that they should be thinking about are very important. Now, in this situation, it's absolutely critical, in my opinion, to work with a local lender that knows South Florida and also that's very proactive. Now, my lender, Mark from Loan Depot, is actually a condo specialist, and he goes way beyond what other lenders do. Initially, he'll go out and reach out to the complex and try to find out all this information up front, just to see what you qualify for and how that's going to affect your borrowing position. So there's really nothing worse than going and putting an offer in on a condo and not doing this due diligence up front, spending money on an inspection, money it's going to cost you to apply to the association, only to find out that the building has either no reserves or a very low reserve. They have some problems with their insurance. All these things that are going to factor in and affect your borrowing power, and it's really going to affect on how much money you need to put down to purchase in that particular building. Now, a real good benchmark is to think, if you're going to be purchasing a condo, be prepared to put down at least 20 to 30% in order for the transaction to go through. But these things that I mentioned are critical, and you should find out way before you actually put the offer in, instead of waiting, like I mentioned, 30 days and have the transaction fall apart. Another thing you want to check for sure are special assessments. Now, the special assessments is going to tie into the reserves that we just mentioned earlier, and really what they are. The reserves, a portion of your maintenance payment per month goes into a reserve fund, and that is basically there to maintain the building. So things like hallway flooring, painting, exterior painting, anything as far as ongoing maintenance comes out of the reserve fund. So if there's some sort of an emergency or something that happens that was not allocated for, say a storm takes the roof off or anything like that, if the reserves or if there's not enough reserves to cover that, you will get hit with a special assessment, and basically that's going to be an amount of money above your monthly maintenance payments that's going to go towards paying for this specific issue and all the unit owners are going to have to chip in a certain amount of money and pay that over a certain period of time. Now, another thing that you want to keep in mind is the age of the building and complex itself. So we all remember, I think it was a year or so ago, the building collapsed down in Surfside, Miami, which is a very, very rare occurrence. But you know, buildings down here, or there's a lot of buildings down here that are at least 40, 50 years old. So every 40 years, at least in Broward and Miami-Dade County, they go through a 40-year re-inspection. So the 40-year inspection is really a recertification for buildings that are over 40 years old, and it's designed to make sure that the building is still mechanically and structurally safe as it ages. Now, a lot of times when a building reaches this point, to where they're having this inspection done, and most of the time it leads towards some repairs. Very, very common to see some sort of a special assessment at that time as well, so just keep all of this in mind. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind, obviously, aside from the purchase price, are what are your condo fees per month. Now, the condo fees are maintenance fees for condos down here in South Florida. Vary greatly. They go anywhere from a couple of $100 all the way up to $1,000 in some cases for some newer luxury or concierge type buildings that have a lot of amenities. Some of them have doormen, you know, valet parking, gyms, spas, all kinds of stuff like that. And then again, on the low side, you have some that are just a couple of $100 and they don't really have any amenities whatsoever. So obviously, the amount of monthly fees is going to factor in and needs to be taken into account, because it's going to affect what you qualify for as far as a mortgage and your monthly payment. Now, another thing that's very, very important that you have to take into consideration are the rules and regulations of the complex that you're interested in. Now, obviously, for many different reasons, this is very, very important. If you're going to be buying as a primary residence is one thing. If you're going to be buying as a second home or a vacation home or seasonal, and you want to rent a portion of the year, that might be kind of tough. There's not many complexes that allow short-term rentals, so you got to keep that in mind. Some of them don't allow rentals at all. Some of them you have to own for at least a year or a few years before you can consider renting the property, but very, very important. Also, pet policy, depending on pets. Some don't allow pets. Some have weight restrictions, some only allow cats. So all of this is contained in the rules and regulations. Also, parking is another big one. How many people or how many parking spots does the unit come with? What type of vehicle do you drive? Some of them don't allow pickup trucks. Most of them don't allow commercial or work vehicles. So all of this stuff is very, very important. So when you have an accepted contract, you're going to be given, as part of the contract and written into the contract, a copy of the rules and regulations. And here in South Florida, you have 3 days to review the condo docs and the rules and regulations and check everything out, and just to make sure it's a fit for you. And if not, you can cancel your contract. So that's your due diligence period as far as the reviewing the condo and the documents and the rules and regulations. Other things to keep in mind that some people don't think about is renovations. What type of renovations can you do as an owner? Flooring, you got to be very careful with that. They have restrictions on the type of flooring you can put in and also how it's installed. So you got to get approval from the association in order to do that. If you don't do it properly, they're going to make you tear it up. You have to have soundproofing there because you're going to have, you know, somebody underneath you in most cases. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Another thing to keep into consideration is guests. You know, how often can you have guests over? How often can they stay over? What are the rules as far as that? If this is going to be a 55 and over community, they have very specific regulations depending on the complex, on if anybody under 55 can stay there. So you definitely want to check out the rules and regulations thoroughly before making a final decision and pulling the trigger and moving forward on a condo. So it's much different buying a property that's in some sort of an association, especially a condo association that has a lot of rules. Take my word for it. You want to make sure you work with a realtor and a lender that is going to do the legwork up front for you. You should have, as I mentioned earlier, the reserves, the budget, the master insurance policy, all the things that most lenders and realtors will wait for that, you know, happen later on down the process. Do it ahead of time before you actually waste time and money thinking you're going to be moving forward on a certain complex, only to find out that the deal won't work. Or you might have to put down a significant amount of money in order to finance in that particular complex. Again, take my word for it, you'll be much better off that you did. So I want to thank you for watching the video about condos. And again, if you have any plans or any questions about a move to South Florida, I would love to hear from you. You can reach me 24/7. All my information is down on the description, and I look forward to showing you around town and helping you make it a smooth transition with your move to South Florida. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.